Hey.
Hey, so are we recording?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
recording. We're just
Okay.
talking to this. So,
All right. Let's do it.
hey everyone. My name is Peter Harrington, and this is the first episode of Idlewood Movie Reviews. I'm here with the local librarian of my town, Flora,
Hi, Flora Crane.
and we just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves and what we're going to be doing on this movie review podcast. So, a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Peter Harrington, and for a long time, I lived in kind of the Northern Virginia area. Working at a psychiatric hospital and trying to get credits together so I could go back to med school. And I experienced a little bit of burnout, which everyone talks about nowadays. And I decided to take a break from that, maybe not do that for a while. And I went online and found a website called sweetgigs.com where there was a night baker job in a little small town in the mountains of West Virginia called Hemlock, West Virginia.
Hemlock, West Virginia.
Yeah, that's our town. I've been here for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and it's a cute little town. So I'm working at a night baker for a coffee shop. I make the pastries there. The coffee shop is called Bean and Nothingness, and I also make the pizza dough for the pizza pub. So right now I'm just kind of getting settled into town, but my therapist told me it would be a good idea to try to put myself out there. I went to the local library. I met Flora here. Well, Flora, do you want to give
That's where I come in.
an
Yeah.
introduction to yourself? Yeah.
Sure. Like you said, I'm the librarian here.
Yeah. How long have you been here?
More than a year.
More than a year.
Wow.
So we're both, you're a little more settled in, and I'm new to the town.
Mhm.
And the Wi-Fi is not too great out here, so it's actually going to probably take a long time to upload this online. So I went to the local library, and Flora introduced me to this big white box of VHSs you found in the back, right?
I could explain a little bit. When I
Yeah.
first came here, there were maybe 2 movies in the library. I think Ghostbusters and some instructional film
Yeah.
from the 80s. But there are a lot of boxes in the library, and it seems to be, no matter how many I unpack, there's always more with books or knickknacks. And this one box had a lot of unmarked VHS tapes, and I thought they were just blank tapes at first. But it turns out that all of them have films, have movies on them. And I have never seen any of the films. It's always a surprise when I plug it into the tape player. And so I thought this would be, if you're looking for movies to watch and you don't want to watch, it's like, whatever the driving instructional video, whatever it was, then these movies are a good place to start. So,
Yeah.
what was the first one that you picked out for this week? Because I've seen them all.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, it was called I have it right here. I wrote down a little summary to summarize for everyone.
Mhm.
It's called Meet Me at the End of Time. And
Mhm.
but before we start that, would it be cool if we just talked about the small town a little bit and kind of introduced our viewers to kind of, where we're at?
Yes, yes.
Share a little bit about this town. So what's really cool about it is we're kind of right on the edge of I'd never heard of this before, the Idlewood Wilderness,
Yeah.
which is, I think, how big is it? Like 4,500 square miles or something like that?
4,500 square miles. It's a unique place. It's beautiful, but it is also it's a real wilderness. It's raw. There's not much here, and it's if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a dangerous place too. So be careful
Yeah.
out in the woods. I know you like to take your walks. Be careful, okay?
Yeah. Well, I've heard it's got some weird folklore and stuff like that, which I'm ecstatic to kind of learn about as I spend time in this town and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, it seems like a cool place, and one of the coolest things about it is on the perimeter of the Idlewood Wilderness is the Sycamore Trail, which is one of the kind of hidden gems of the long hikes in America,
Yeah.
from what I've heard. Travelers come from all around, and I know some people will stay in our few little hostels in town, and I know we also have a little place in town. What is it, the Idlewood Manor, something like that? If you're a little more bougie and you want
Yes.
to
Yes.
enjoy the great outdoors here. But yeah, so it's cool. We get to meet all sorts of new hikers who come into town all the time, and it's just I think it's a good opportunity to meet like cool people who go on hiking trails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
It's the novelty of it wears off, but yes, there are a lot of people who come into town.
oh, cool, cool, cool. Well, I'm excited to kind of get to know this town and spend some time reviewing movies together. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
I guess we can go ahead and start. So I wrote a little kind of summary of the film just to catch everyone up to speed, and then we can kind of give our thoughts and review it. Does that sound like a good way to do this?
Yeah, go ahead. Read your
Cool.
summary.
Awesome. So, the main character is named Owen Moore.
What was the name of the film again?
Meet me at the end of time.
Meet Me in the End of Time.
Yeah. So, Owen Moore is the star of this film. He's a guy, I'm guessing he's in his late 30s or so, and he has two daughters, and the three of them take an RV road trip across the Pacific Northwest
Mhm.
on a summer vacation following the passing of his wife, the girl's mother. So, kind of a brief overview of the characters. The eldest daughter is named Allie. She's 9 years old, and she's a very precocious child who mostly keeps her head in books a lot of the time. And she kind of copes with the death of her mother by concealing her emotions. She's very reticent and cold to her father during the majority of the film. She ignores him for long stretches of the trip, and she kind of copes with the grief in that way. And the younger daughter, she's 6 years old. Her name is Olive, and she's very full of life and energy and deals with grief through kind of intense mood swings.
Mhm.
And she doesn't really understand death, and so her attempts to try to cope and understand her mother's death cause a lot of grief and pain to Owen through the film. But Owen himself is kind of an interesting character because during the film he finds himself very surprised that he's spending less time grieving his own wife's death, and he spends more time kind of thinking about his own mortality. He contemplates his own death and his fear of death, and a big part of this film is he wakes up in the night with night terrors about oblivion and the idea that his consciousness will disappear when he dies. I mean, this terrifies him. So, most of the film is shot on location as they travel through the beautiful landscapes of the Pacific Northwest, including Cannon Beach, Mount Rainier, the North Cascades, and Olympic National Park. Along the way, Owen meets several travelers who all have different sort of solutions to his grief. He meets a kind father and son who are deeply religious. He also meets an older gentleman who believes in the mantra of living for today. And he also meets a single woman around his age who he has a bit of a romance with in the film. It's very light. Um, but she shares Owen's fears of death as well, but the way she copes with it is she spends a lot of time out in nature to feel a part of something greater than herself. And the film is primarily comprised of long monologues of Owen's inner thoughts, as well as long dialogues between Owen and his fellow travelers, as well as scenes between Owen and his daughters. And the film ends and you expect there to be some sort of great thing that they've learned, and maybe you expect them to come to a different place. But what I really liked about this film is nothing's really changed at the end of the film. You know, they have to go back and live their lives. The summer is over. The girls have to go back to school. Owen has to go back to work. And the only thing that has changed is I think Olive's grown a little bit through the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of the overview. There was a few scenes that I wanted to talk about a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of hear your thoughts on the film before we jump into that.
It's I like what you said about the end and how very little has changed. It feels like a real to life film, you know, it's beautiful, and of course some of the dialogue is a little stylized, but it really does feel like this father and these girls are having an honest and genuine reaction to this loss.
Yeah.
You know, it's not they don't spend every moment weeping. They have real human reactions, and it's Owen's fear of death and oblivion resonated with me. In that moment, maybe you feel like you shouldn't be thinking about yourself. You feel selfish, but that is how we react. Even
Yeah.
the brief, like you said, very brief and tasteful romance that he explores is another film maybe wouldn't have explored that because it seems almost taboo to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in grief and be with someone else. But that was probably to me the best part of the film. She was my favorite character.
She was a great character for sure.
The landscape, you know, the scenery in this film was just gorgeous. Doesn't not quite as beautiful as the Idlewood Wilderness, of course, but very, you know, if I were the sort of person who traveled much, I would probably want to go travel to the Pacific Northwest indeed. Yeah, so no, this is a wonderful film. Yeah, I was happy to revisit it.
Yeah, it was. I agree with everything you said about the characters and the landscape. There's one scene now that really stuck with me kind of in a deep way. It's towards the beginning of the film where we see Olive get very excited to go up into the sky, to go up into the airplane,
Right, in the
and
airplane
then
scene.
when
Oh,
she
it's
lands,
devastating, devastating.
um, there's it's implied that Owen's mother-in-law, with whom he has some conflict, his wife's mother, she told Olive that mommy is in the sky now, and Olive didn't understand that by going on the airplane she wouldn't spend time with her mother, and she has a breakdown at the airport where she just starts kicking and screaming, and Owen doesn't know what to do, and that scene just tears you
Just
apart, you
cuts you.
know?
Well, it's
Yeah.
realistic. I remember at a young age, I think I had it, someone I knew had lost someone, and their parents didn't know what to say, so they told them at the wake, like, he's sleeping, like, grandpa's sleeping, and then she was afraid to go to sleep for, like, the rest of the year, you know? So it's and you can't really blame the mother-in-law for this. I mean, what do you say to a child in that moment of loss? And you improvise and you try to do your best, but there is no way to, to circumvent the fundamental trauma of that.
Yeah.
And but it's yes, that I did tear up at that scene, and
Yeah.
I always do. It's just devastating.
Yeah. That scene really stays with you. And I think what's great about this film is it explores how everyone has kind of weird, unique ways of coping from death. People will
Hmm.
say, "Sorry for your loss, Owen," or "If there's anything possibly I can do for you," or "She's
Yeah,
in a better place now," right? Everyone always has their
better
mantra that they
place.
speak
Yep, yep.
for death. But really, we don't know what's to come, and it's very scary. And Owen really explores that in the film. So I thought that scene
Well,
was great.
I like specifically. There's the very brief scene that sticks with me when he's getting snacks from a roadside convenience store, and he's clearly been crying, and the clerk is like, "What's
Yeah,
up? Are you okay?" And he says, "My wife died," and the clerk just says "fuck," and that is the
yeah,
best reaction in the whole film, and he feels seen in that moment, and
yeah.
that's the only reaction that really gives him comfort in the whole film.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that scene really stuck with you because, like, I was being real with him,
Yeah.
So I loved that scene. There's another one that really, that I wrote down that really stuck with me. It's about 2/3 of the way through the film when Allie finally has her emotional break.
Hmm.
So they're at McDonald's, they're getting fast food together, and she orders a strawberry milkshake, and they bring out a vanilla one, which is a simple problem you could fix. You just go up and say, "You got me the wrong milkshake." And she finally just has a meltdown. She
Yep.
throws the milkshake, she throws the fries and all the food over the top of it, and it feels like she's projecting all of her sadness and grief that's been, she's been kind of bottling it up the entire film
Yeah.
onto that milkshake in the moment, right?
Yeah.
She projects it onto
But the
something
film
else.
doesn't say that explicitly. It doesn't
Yeah,
say that, and that's one of the powerful parts of this movie is that it just
yeah,
lets it happen and lets us think about it and think about what's
yeah,
happening. I love this scene because I was like that as a young girl. If food went slightly wrong, I would have a total meltdown. I'm still like that. I'm a little hungry right now, to be
yeah,
honest. And I definitely get more grumpy and more prone to a meltdown in those moments. So I thought that was a nice little realistic touch.
yeah. It was beautiful, and as we talked about, they've lost someone who they love deeply,
Yes.
and she's not coming back, and there's no lessons that's learned at the end of the day. It's just them. They have to go back to where they came from and learn to live their lives again without her. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a beautiful film. Do you have anything else you want to say about it? Or
The photography was lush and gorgeous, and the soundtrack is this sort of 60s folk,
yeah,
very beautiful. I think all acoustic.
yeah,
A lot of groups that I'd never heard of, and just really fit the film well, I think.
yeah. Well, that was a great film to start off on. I'm excited to
Yeah.
explore another one next week with you if you're down to do some more reviews and
Yeah,
stuff like
we'll
that.
see. I've got a lot of things to take care of
Okay.
at work, but yeah, I wouldn't be entirely opposed to it.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for episode 1 of the Idlewood movie reviews. I guess we'll be back with you next week to review another movie together. So please take care.
Great.
All right.